welcome to the Application Insider Personal Statement Workshop. I'm very glad that you're here and that you've made this choice to invest in your education and your future career as a dietitian. As we are getting started in the workshop, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Nicole Vance. I am the founder, CEO, and Dietetic Internship Application Guide here at Application Insider. Now, before I even started Application Insider, I was actually a faculty member and then director at the Utah State University Dietetic Internship. And it was in that role that I really started to see all of the confusion and frustration that dietetic students go through as they are applying to internships. I also saw a whole range of applications from the really, really great all the way down to the could be a whole lot better. And that's when I decided to use my expertise and my experience in that role to start Application Insider. I want to help you create an application that you know will stand out. I started Application Insider to bridge the gaps that exist in the application process that really shouldn't be there. In this workshop, we will be doing that specifically with your personal statement. This is a really big part of the application that can bring about a lot of anxiety. But it shouldn't, because it's also the part of the application where you've got the most freedom and the most opportunity to share your unique self and write an introduction that directors will want to read so they can learn more about you. As we go through the writing steps, you will find out all the information you need to answer all the questions completely, including the unasked portions of each question. Make sure you write something that directors are interested in reading from start to finish. And you'll be able to tell your story clearly, completely, concisely, and confidently. We want to make sure we hit those 4 C's. And we're going to do all of that while we meet the 1,000 word maximum limit that we do need to keep in mind. By the end of this workshop, you could have a submission-ready personal statement with time to spare before your application deadline. Let me tell you about how this workshop platform is set up so you know where to find everything you need to get through this workshop. The modules are all listed on the left-hand side. You will see that right now you have access to just a few of them. The rest of them will open as we go through the workshop. Everything will be opened on a Monday, just so you know about that schedule. Right now, you have access to this welcome video. The next module is where you will find the workshop tools. You have 2 things you can download, the workshop guidebook and the personal statement sample pack. These 2 tools are really meant to complement and go in sync with every step of the workshop and as we go through each week. So make sure you download them and use them throughout the workshop. The guidebook will take you smoothly through all of the writing steps and help you with writing prompts and knowing what to do to accomplish that step. Then the personal statement sample pack gives you 2 examples of personal statements that you get to see from the very first draft to the submission ready version. You can see how questions were answered, how transitions were made between responses, and even how words were cut down from 1,400 to just under 1,000. It can be done. So make sure that you go to that module next after watching this video, download those materials so you've got them as you start with step 1. So what is in each of these modules that will go with each writing step? You do have access to the first step now, and then as I mentioned, the other steps will become available each Monday in the workshop. Step 1 is writing your shabby first draft. Step 2 is formatting and editing. Step 3 is reviewing and revising. And step 4 is finalizing and getting that puppy ready to upload into DICAS. Within each of the modules, the insight and information videos are provided, and they are broken down into shorter segments so you can pick and choose what you are ready to watch whenever you're sitting down to take part in the workshop. The content is broken down so you have access to my information, my insights, and my perspective as a DI director. You can sit down and watch as you're able, and as you're going through the workshop, you know that everything is there for you to refer to and watch later if you need it. Thursday night, we will have a live Q&A session by Zoom. There is a link to the Zoom call in the module, as well as an email that will be sent out about an hour before the call is scheduled. So these calls are set up specifically to be throughout the workshop. I have spaced them out intentionally because I know that everyone writes at a different pace. And I want you to know that whenever questions come up, whatever writing step you're on, we will have a live Q&A session so you can get the customized guidance you need to help overcome whatever obstacles have come up for your path. Come to whatever Q&A sessions are available on your schedule and that you need. If that's all of them, fantastic. If you don't need all of them, that's totally fine. Every Q&A call will be recorded and the recordings will be posted and saved here in the platform so you can refer to them later or watch them if you are unable to attend in person. These Q&A sessions are really your opportunity to get the customized guidance you need for your personal statement. It should be all about you. Not everyone is going to have the same question. Not everyone is going to have the same writing concerns come up while they are answering the questions and formatting this personal statement to introduce themselves to program directors. You might have questions about making sure your answer is complete and does address all parts of the question. Someone else might have a question about transitioning between responses. We can help you narrow down strengths and weaknesses, your long-term and short-term goals, figuring out what experiences to focus on, work through paragraphs if you're editing for word count. I mean, whatever comes up, that's what the Q&A is for. Whatever you need, whatever guidance you're looking for, the Q&A is where you're going to get it. So take advantage of those calls to get the information you need for your personal statement. You can also post comments or discussion points or questions in the platform itself. In the upper right-hand corner, there is a discussion box. You can open that up, post a comment, post a question. If it's between live Q&A calls and you can't wait till the next one, I will be checking for these posts daily. I will be in the workshop platform, making sure that if anything comes up that you are posting about in that discussion box, I can respond to, I can provide information, I can answer your question. So don't be afraid to use it. Plus, if you have a response that you could share with someone who's posting a question, feel free to share. I'm certainly not the only one in this workshop that has writing insights to share with others. So if you have something that can help someone else in the workshop respond to their post, that would be great. I do have one tiny disclaimer to let you know about the videos. Many of them were recorded for previous live workshops I've held when the workshop was actually hosted in a Facebook group. So there might be some references to posting in the Facebook group or finding something in the Facebook group. The reality for this workshop is that everything you need is here in the Thinkific workshop platform. If you're looking for a link, materials, tools, or options to post, all of that is here, as I've explained. And if you can't find something that you actually do need and are searching for, drop me an email at nicole@applicationinsider.co and I'll make sure we're able to get it for you. All right, that's all the information you need to get started in the workshop. So let's dive in. Make sure that your next stop is just the very next module where you can download the tools that go along with the workshop, the guidebook, and the personal statement sample pack. Both of them will be used throughout the workshop. You'll be able to refer to them and rely on them for each of the writing steps. So make sure you've got them and they are there for you. I really hope that as you go through this workshop, you get everything that you were expecting: tools, guidance, insights, one-on-one interaction, customized information that you can really use on your own personal statement, and even more. I'm very glad that you're here. Let's get writing. Hey everyone, welcome to the first video for the Application Insider Personal Statement Workshop. I'm so excited that you're here and that in just a few weeks you will have a personal statement that is submission ready to go into DICAS and be added to your application. All right, we're just going to jump right into this. Step one is writing your shabby first draft, getting things on paper and ready to be edited and perfected for your application. All right, so writing your shabby first draft has three important components to keep in mind. The first component, we're going to make sure that you're able to answer all of those DICAS questions completely. You're going to know the entire question that is being asked, exactly what directors are looking for, so you know exactly what to tell them. Then we're going to bring all of those answers into an essay form, so it reads more smoothly. It's not just individual answers here and there. It's something that is cohesive and everything is brought together. And step three, for right now, we're ignoring word count. The number of words you're putting on the page does not matter at this stage of the game. All right, so first I'm going to go through all of the DICAS questions. I'm going to review exactly what the question states, so what you see in DICAS when you open up the personal statement section, and then I'm going to tell you the information that each program actually wants to know. This is the unasked portion of each of those questions. This will help you know exactly what they're asking. And then I'll give you prompts to make sure that you are addressing every part of the question, asked or unasked, so that your response answers the whole thing completely. I'll also give you some do's and don'ts to keep in mind when you're putting your responses together. All right, DICAS question number one is, why do you want to enter the dietetics profession? That's exactly how it's stated in DICAS. But what the internship really wants to know is, what are you going to do in this profession after we train you to be a dietitian? The program knows that they're going to be investing time, money, resources, effort, and everything else into your experience in their program. And they don't want to do that if you're not going to use that and add or contribute to the dietetics profession in some way. So that's what they really want to know. What are you going to do with the experience you have in your internship? So some prompts to answer this question. I want to be a dietitian so that I can. Think about what you want to do once you have that RD or RDN credential, however you want to use it. And you can also use the prompt, an experience or situation that helped me realize I want to be a dietitian is. Now, let me tell you what I saw often as a director from students who answered this question. They would start with an experience, something that happened in their past with a family member, a friend, something in school as they were an athlete, whatever experience they had, and they would share how that helped them decide they wanted to be a dietitian. And some of them stopped right there. So the way I always thought of it is the experience or that situation helps you describe, this is what happened in the past, and it brings me to the present. Internships also want to know where you are at the present and what you're going to do in the future. So you have to answer both parts of that question. The experience or situation is, this happened and brought me here. And then the first prompt you have there, I want to be a dietitian so that I can, helps bring your present and show what you're going to do in the future. Internships want to see both parts. So you cannot stop at just the experience or situation that led you to your decision to join the dietetics profession or to choose that as your major. So that's why there are 2 prompts to this question to help you answer both sides of that question, because internships do want to hear from you about your past to present, but also your present to the future. So do share your real experiences. If you do have a significant or meaningful experience that helped you decide to choose dietetics as your major and, set your career sights on being a dietitian, share that. And if you've got really clearly thought out, plans for what you want to do when you join the profession, share that. Internships do want to hear that. They want to know why this choice of career is meaningful for you, and be as specific as you can. Obviously, whatever has happened in the past, you can describe as perfectly as it happened. But some students worry, I don't know exactly what I want to do as a dietitian. I know I'm really interested in this field and I know there's a place for me. I just can't say specifically exactly everything about what I want my career to look like. And that's okay. You don't need to say, I want to work at this place with these people doing this thing. You can, break it down to as specific as you can. That might mean choosing which area of dietetics, clinical, research, academia, community, food service, whatever of those areas that you're most interested in pursuing. If you do have those specifics that you want to, you want to work with athletes who are also diabetic because that's your experience and that was meaningful for you, that's super specific. You can definitely write that down. And if you're not that specific with where your career is going to go, that's okay too. Just write the specifics that you do have so that the program can see you've thought this through and you've got career plans that are going to take shape, even if they're not completely fully formed right now. Whatever you do, don't leave your answer to this question at just the experience. You cannot stop this question. You cannot finish your answer with, and that's why I decided to become a dietetics major. Because that's where you are right now. What are you going to do next? You always have to complete the story, take it to that next step. You're going to see that theme as I go through the answer prompts for all the questions. Complete the story, tell the entire story. And that's what you need to do here. What is the past experience, situation, family member, student athlete, personal experience, whatever it is that brought you to this point? Don't stop there, because programs want to hear about what you plan to do next as well. So make sure you include both parts in your answer.
I guess, honestly, lastly, is my intro. I wrote my intro and it's literally just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 sentence long paragraph.
Okay.
And then I went and I looked at like your example, and I felt like the example was like a lot longer. And I'm like, I don't know, like my, I was like, I don't know what else to say. I feel like my story is so like not short, but it's like very to the point. Like, okay, I was diagnosed with diabetes, so like this basically shaped my like life to want to become a dietitian and want to do like everything I experienced. Like I wanted to like give back and like show others, and like I actually wanted to be someone that they could say like, oh, she's living with diabetes, so like she gets what I'm doing, because everyone I encountered wasn't. So I was like, but you don't get it. but but yeah, so like I basically said all that in like 6 sentences. Do you think that's too short, or should like I elaborate more?
You know, it's hard to compare like this story was told in this many words and this other story was told in this many words, which one was told better, because it depends on so many other things. If you, as you read it, even before we get to editing, as you read it, if you're like, I feel like anything I add is just going to be fluff, then don't add it at this point, which I know I just said, write everything down, write everything down. But when we get to the editing phase, and that's generally when stuff starts to get tightened up and you're tightening up the other sections of the personal statement, it might come out that, you know, everything is now on track with that first paragraph, or, you know, as I read it again, because in editing you read it 7 billion times, which is not encouraging. I'm really sorry to say it that way. But you might see like, okay, I feel like there are some details that are missing here. I can add an extra sentence, or I can add, you know, I can, you know, form this out a little bit. But if you feel, I mean, because some stories are very straightforward anyway. And like you
Right.
said, it might be like, I got diabetes. It changed my life.
Yeah,
Full
exactly.
stop. You know, I don't need to talk. And you can say that, and especially to the audience that you're writing to, you don't need to say, I had to learn how to count carbs and I had to learn how to administer insulin to myself. And some
Right.
people will include that in their story, and so I'm not saying you can't, but that's a like an optional detail. When you tell dietitians you got diabetes, they can kind of figure that out for themselves. And
Right.
if that whole process itself wasn't like, if describing those minute details doesn't feel like you're telling your story better with them, then you don't need to put them in.
Okay. Okay.
How does that paragraph kind of wrap up? Because in the first question, you obviously want to talk about, this is why I'm here. So in the video I said like bringing past to present. How do you feel you've done with bringing it present to future and what you want
Okay.
to
So
do?
basically, the last sentence, I wrapped it up as, I want to be able to connect with other diabetics and teach them that they're not alone in this journey, while also incorporating sustainable habits.
Okay.
That's like,
I mean, that could be maybe like even a sentence added more specific if you wanted to throw in a little, like a little teaser for what your goals are. Like, I would love to work with, I don't know. I don't know what your goals are. And I know in my examples in the personal statement sample pack, I think even in both of the samples, it does kind of end on a not incredibly specific sentence, that first paragraph. But I mean, that's an option for you. So you say, I want to help them, you know, with this change in their life. I'm sorry, I'm paraphrasing in my own words. With the change in their life, help them live sustainably. And then you can say, if you wanted to, you know, eventually I'd like to do that in a private practice, or you could even talk about the outcomes that you would like to help them achieve
okay.
a little more specifically.
Um,
Um,
okay.
does that alone, I mean, you're agreeing with me, does that make sense? I'm not even,
Yeah.
I'm
No, no, no.
coming up with examples in my head that I'm not comfortable saying out loud because I'm making it up.
No, 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 that's fine. I totally agree. I like the idea of like, then foreshadowing the goals and kind of talking about that.